Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Bitcoin update. Now, Bitcoin is on a clock here, okay? You might think, what do you mean, Wolf? What do you mean a clock? Well, I'll tell you right now, we have 4 days and 23 hours until the weekly candle closes, and that weekly candle right now is digging into some very major levels, and we need to get above them. 28K is the level we need to get above, really. I mean, 27.9K technically, but basically 28K. The bull market support band, the 200-week SMA, they're all laid in that region. This recent move upwards has been very important for Bitcoin. It's actually given Bitcoin a lot of hope in the charts. I don't think the charts look anywhere near as bad as they did about a week ago. Right now, Bitcoin is actually looking quite good, really. I mean, it's looking relatively strong. We've had things like the bearish September monthly trend be slightly debunked. We have things like the bullish October, which is the most bullish month for Bitcoin, coming up very shortly with an average monthly return of about 20%. So we're in a decent position here for Bitcoin. It just needs to finish the job, and that's what this is all about. So nail-biting price action as we dig into resistance. This is pretty much the final chance the bulls have here, and we need to be seeing a strong, decisive success. So ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the charts. All right, guys, the charts I'll be looking at today is the Bitcoin range-bound chart, and we'll actually be flipping it over. Now, this is very interesting because we don't do this very often, but I love doing it occasionally when we're in a tough situation in the market. Flipping over this chart gives us a unique perspective on where we are and a unique perspective on where we'll be going in the future. So we'll be looking at that. Daily chart, 15-minute chart, weekly chart on Bitcoin, very important. We're digging into the bull market support band right now, and that's extremely crucial timing, and it's extremely crucial moment for the bulls specifically, but also for the bears, because if we break through that, Bitcoin's in a good position. We're looking at Binance chart on Ethereum, which is looking into the low formations, what we generally do when we're at the lows and how we've copied that. Also going to be looking into a Bitcoin on-chain chart, looking into the dates of which last active, supply was basically, last buying or selling was happening within wallets and how that's been increasing gradually. We're looking at the Bitcoin monthly returns chart, looking into the, the red September we were meant to have, or potentially we might still have, and then we're looking into the following months as well. And those are all charts we're looking at today. So quite a lot to look into in terms of quality, not a lot to look into in terms of quantity. There's only 6 or 7 charts to look at, but they're all very important. So without further ado, before we actually dive into the video itself, just 30 seconds here, quickly check out the Telegram VIP group. We have a VIP group on Telegram which trades altcoins on a sub-daily basis. You can join the free information group. As you can see on the screen here, this is the information group. Join that for free. You can see what the VIP group on Telegram offers, including trading plans, immediate access to all the pending signals, 24/7 group chat, and more, and the prices, etc. You can also check out this PDF document, which has the trading results for all the trades we've done in the VIP group, which brings us to a win rate of around 79.12%, which is excellent. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already done so. And without further ado, guys, we'll dive straight into the analysis. All right, so understanding where Bitcoin is very important. Where are we? Well, we're sitting right here in this top upper green range, and we've had 3 distinctive ranges throughout the entirety of basically the last year or so, the last 18 months. Ever since we entered these ranges back here in May 2022, we've seen 1, 2, 3 ranges. I've color-coded them. Green is the top one, red is the bottom one, and obviously that works both ways. It works in saying that red is bad and green is good. Obviously, if we drop back into this red range, that's when we start threatening to make a new lows, which would break the cyclical structure. But until then, we're not actually in any immediate cyclical danger. We're just in danger from a basically convenience and time perspective. And the danger I mean is this. The danger I mean is we're testing, we're actually broken upwards a little bit in the last week or so. We're testing a very important support zone, we have been, which is 24.5K. As you can see, on a couple of these retests back in July 2022 and February 2023, we tested for resistance. We've been testing it for support on a couple of occasions. We've managed to find the strength to bounce upwards here. Now, a lot of people aren't convinced that this bounce will result in anything too bullish, and I can prove that. I can show you a poll I did on YouTube. As you can see, I've done a poll yesterday with 1,000 votes, which is quite significant. What comes first for Bitcoin, 40K or 20K? And only 41% of people think we'll see 40K first, which leads me to believe that the vast majority of people believe will actually go downwards on Bitcoin. And even looking at just 11 days ago, I did another poll asking the same question. Then it was 38%. So not the vast majority, but 2/3 of people, or just under 2/3 of people, believe that Bitcoin will be going downwards, which is quite interesting. Because the same people who are saying Bitcoin goes downwards are generally are always the same people who are saying, the majority is always wrong. And in this case, they are the majority, and so bouncing here seems logical. from their perspective. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that logic. The majority is always wrong in logic, firstly, because it's very hard to actually quantify what the majority thinks, because the vast majority of places in which we try to quantify it is consumed by bias. Even my YouTube channel, for example, my YouTube channel has certain biases, and so the audience has certain biases, and so they're not going to answer the poll in a 100%, I guess you could say, what would be the word? Fair format. They're going to be, more inclined to choose a certain option. But what I will say is this: my channel has actually been leaning slightly more bullish on this support zone, especially over the past few days. And so the fact that these polls are still leaning bearish, even with my channel's bias being slightly bullish, just slightly bullish, is quite interesting to see. So the majority of people are actually bearish right now, which makes it interesting to see we're bouncing. We still are in risk. We're not actually out of danger yet. We'll be looking into the daily chart, weekly chart in a second. But overall, it is good to see a bounce. This could, however, be a bearish bounce in which we just see a small kind of lower high and then move downwards from there. That could be the case. But as of right now, we just need to monitor this bounce and track it, which we will be doing later in this video. But overall, if we flip the chart over, because overall it's still confusing, right? This range is still kind of up in the air. We're still kind of in no man's land. But if we flip the chart over, we can really get another perspective of this chart. Like, this is what I mean. We'll go to a daily chart here on the inverted charts. This is just the same chart I was just looking at, but it's flipped over. And the reason I do this is because flipping over charts actually helps you understand the charts better, helps you eliminate some degree of bias. So basically, you can see the same ranges are present, and you can see easily why we broke downwards, upwards here, right? Well, it depends what format you're speaking in, but basically we broke downwards here, which means we went upwards on the price. It's very easy to see why we did that. We had this massive kind of head and shoulders formation, or something resembling it, right? Even if it wasn't a head and shoulders, the fact of the matter is it was some sort of cup and handle formation, some sort of rounding top formation. It's easy to see why we broke above 24.5k and hence went downwards in this chart. But as of right now, it's also easy to see why people are leaning bearish on Bitcoin. They because we are forming some sort of potential, head and shoulders pattern formation like that, inverted head and shoulders, which would bring us downwards on Bitcoin and hence, upwards on this chart here. But overall, I don't think that even the inverted chart gives us a clear view of anything other than this. I think that the inverted chart actually shows us that, well, this is really an interesting situation for Bitcoin, because if we do manage to break above 32k, all right, which is breaking below this green box, look how dramatic the price action gets. Look how clamped up and kind of huddled up this price action has been for the last 18 months. And look what happens once we lose this green level and break above 32k. Look at the spikes we've seen historically, the huge moves in very short periods of time. The volatility in this entire range above this green box and hence below this green box on this chart is absolutely massive in comparison to the huddled up, claustrophobic price action we've been seeing here. And so the fact that Bitcoin is managing to hold that support so strongly at 24.5k, and potentially even seeing a counterbalancing situation. What I mean by that is this. All right, a lot of people have been claiming for a long period of time now that Bitcoin will go down below 24.5k because we've seen a double top. That is the main claim they're making. Well, guess what, guys? Now we're seeing a double bottom as well. Okay, so that kind of counteracts and that kind of invalidates both of these things, and it puts us in a fresh situation for Bitcoin. We're just in a horizontal range now, okay, because we've seen a double top, all right? Yeah, we've seen a double top. Yeah, cool, it didn't play out. Now we've seen a double bottom as well, and that means that instead of seeing a double top and double bottom, we're actually just in a horizontal range. And guess what? A horizontal range after an upwards move is actually a bullish formation, technically speaking, if you're looking from a technical perspective. So that's actually good, and that would mean that we're more likely to break upwards here. I will pitch you this, right? If we form a double bottom, if we do this, okay, and we break up above this range, does that not look extraordinarily bullish, especially considering it's a horizontal range, which is a bullish technical formation, right? Especially considering as well that once we break above that green box, we're destined to see massively, massive volume, massive surges in price action, just like we saw previously. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be in the same level like it was back here, because that was a cyclical bull market, but it certainly will break us out of this consolidation region, this massive compression region. I think that Bitcoin right now is actually looking potentially promising. I'm not going to go ahead and say it's bullish yet, because it's not. And the reason I'm not, willing to say it's bullish yet is because we haven't actually broke above the critical levels yet. We'll look into that in a second. But I think overall, it's in a much better position than it was 2 weeks ago. And overall, I think a lot of the bearish arguments now are actually getting put under the pump. In the same way that a lot of the bullish arguments were being tested up here, a lot of the bearish arguments have been tested down here. And I'll tell you right now, the bulls are holding up very nicely, all things considered. Okay, so what we're seeing now on Bitcoin on daily chart is, break above RSI resistance line. It's great to see. We've seen some upwards momentum due to that. And we're starting to dig into these real strong resistance zones. We've seen a dip into support, on one quick little daily candle dipped into support massively, just like what we saw in June. You can see one little daily candle dipped into support and then an upwards trend formed. And we've dipped into support, we've bounced upwards now, we've seen perhaps the last chance the bulls have to break out of resistance here. If we fail the breakout here, I said it before, I'll say it again in previous videos, if we fail to break out here, perhaps we see a small downwards move and then upwards. If we fail to break out here, if we go downwards back to this green box, I don't believe Bitcoin will hold again. I believe this is kind of the last hope for the bulls, this move. And so that potentially will be the title of the video, I suppose. But look, we've got resistance here. We're testing resistance very sharply. It is still very strong resistance. Hourly 15-minute chart displays that perfectly. You can see on the 15-minute chart, just, constant kind of upwards moves, rejections, scatter around here in the top, potentially downwards again. We'll have to wait and see what actually occurs, but basically, it's very difficult to analyze short term right now just because of the pure messiness of it. But I can say we do have some important uptrending lines like that we need to be holding, etc. The fact of the matter is this: Bitcoin is testing resistance now, and it's quite hard to say what's going to happen into it. Resistance tests like this with quite limited data. But what I will say is this: we're looking at quite similar to what we've done before. Perhaps in here, not perhaps, but I should say, observing what happened here in June with downwards trend onto support with one solid red candle into it, and then a bounce even back here in May 2021. As you can see, we saw a consolidation on support. We saw one final dip into support, and then we saw a strong upwards trend from there. The pattern that we're seeing right now is similar to what we've seen on previous bottoming formations. And so I would say that Bitcoin is in a good position for that reason. But I don't think that Bitcoin has any confirmation of bullishness right now. I still think that it is in a local downwards trend. And the reason I can say that is because we do still have lower highs and lower lows, technically speaking. So we are in a local downwards trend, technically. And so it's hard to be bullish on Bitcoin when it's in a downwards trend, but I will say that right now is Bitcoin's opportunity. It's the hope that the bulls have right now that we can smash through some of this resistance, because we don't actually need to go that much higher. We just need to break these yellow lines, okay, break above 28k perhaps, and break above bull market support band on the weekly chart. Bull market support band right here, this orange band is very important. As you guys know, you've probably heard about it 15 bloody times by now in the last week. Bull market support band is a critical region, a critical level for Bitcoin. You can see the orange band holding for support throughout the entirety of the previous bull market, holding for resistance throughout the entirety of the previous bear market. Happens over and over again. Fact of the matter is we've dropped below it recently and we need to get back above it. And right now we're actually in the middle of the bull market support band, kind of testing it. And hopefully in 4 days and 23 hours when we close this weekly candle, we will be above 28k. Because being above 28k would not only be being above the bull market support band, but it'd also be being above the 200-week SMA, the green line here. So if we're above, I want to make this very clear right now, and I want you to write this down on your chart. If by the end of this weekly candle, Bitcoin is above 28k, it's closed above 28k, it's very likely that Bitcoin has seen the bottom. That's a fact, okay? Getting above 28k on this weekly chart, on this weekly candle, in 4 days and 23 hours would be game-changing for Bitcoin. It would confirm that this bounce is real. It would confirm that the support did hold, and it would confirm that the bears have kind of been defeated, and we'd start to be retesting this 32k region again. And let me tell you, if we're retesting 32k for the third time, okay, 1, 2, 3, it becomes very unlikely that it holds for resistance. It becomes very likely we break above it, and hence it becomes very likely that we exit the current range and move above into the previous bull market range. I think for that reason, Bitcoin is looking promising right now. Nothing is confirmed, but it's certainly looking promising. I think that there are good signs forming on Bitcoin. I think weekly chart RSI bounce was a very big thing for Bitcoin. I don't think it's over yet, though. I think that technically speaking, as I said, we are still in a downwards trend. We just have a lot of hope. And this is really kind of the final battle for Bitcoin, the last hope for the bulls. Hopefully we can do something good here. I see a lot of people actually wanting Bitcoin to go downwards. I don't see why you'd want Bitcoin to go downwards. It seems so counterlogical to me. Look, even someone like myself with very, very limited amount of bias in the market, and you get very limited amount of bias in the market by learning TA, because you understand TA, you understand you can make money regardless of the market direction. But even with someone like myself, who has a very limited amount of bias, I can say right now, why would you want Bitcoin to go downwards? Like, what is the point of that? Because I'll tell you right now, if Bitcoin goes downwards to new lows, okay, and you didn't buy here at 15k, you're not going to buy when it goes to new lows anyway. So, so like, what are you waiting for? You know what I mean? I'm not saying buy right now. I'm just saying it's a stupid idea to like support the bears. We want crypto to succeed. We want Bitcoin to gain traction. We don't want Bitcoin to throw away an entire year of progress just so it can go to a new low. So you can say it's going to go lower than that and not even buy. Like what? Like seriously, what are we talking about here? So obviously we want Bitcoin to go upwards, and we can say that from a perspective of non-bias, in my opinion. And it's making good moves, it's making progress here. It's testing resistance. Yeah, it hasn't confirmed anything yet. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm overly bullish yet, because I'm not. But I will say that I think Bitcoin has a chance, and I think there is hope for Bitcoin right now. And I think everyone should be watching this price region very closely.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's a little news flash for you. You trust exchanges with your money. They get hacked all the time. They lose funds all the time. So the exchange you're using, you're actually trusting with your money. You're also paying them fees for trades. You're paying up to thousands, tens of thousands of dollars per year in fees. So you want to have a bloody good exchange, right? And that's why I have two exchanges for you guys, two options depending on your location, depending on what you want from exchange. The first one is Bitget. That is a KYC exchange. You can sign up from anywhere in the world, excluding the United States, excluding Canada, and excluding Singapore. Very low fees, protection fund, the whole 9 yards. We've also got BingX. That's our second exchange. And that is an exchange you can sign up non-KYC from anywhere in the world, including every country, right? With a VPN from anywhere in the world. Again, very low fees, protection fund, everything you need in exchange. Both of these exchanges are top 10 exchanges in trading volume. Sign up using my referral link below to get a 15% trading fee discount on both of the exchanges. Again, they'll both be in the description. Referral link is there. Get on a good exchange and become a proper trader. Don't use these trashy exchanges that you're risking your money and paying over in fees. Guys, let's get back into the video.
We're looking at on-chain charts, quite a lot these days, and we've looked at various charts in the past. We'll look at them. We'll continue to look at them, but a couple of the charts we've been looking at recently on-chain is the fact that, Bitcoin has more holders than ever before. We're reaching all-time highs in holders. We're reaching all-time lows on short-term traders, and that kind of supports the idea that perhaps people are waiting for some of the narratives to play out, the narratives being the ETF news. Perhaps they're waiting to see what the result for that is before they start throwing away their Bitcoin, or before they start disposing of their Bitcoin. They want to hold until that occurs, and that is probably a large reason why we've managed to hold quite strongly in the support zone, even in wake of the bearish TA that we had. We have bullish narratives right now. The narratives for Bitcoin are all bullish. The mining, the hash rates are all-time highs. We're seeing mining pick up again. We're seeing massive hedge funds start to apply for ETFs. All the narratives for Bitcoin right now in crypto are actually quite bullish. There isn't many bearish narratives right now, and I think narratives are a big thing. If you look back here during these big drops, what was the narratives? The narratives were massive exchanges were collapsing, FTX was collapsing, and they were running away with funds to the Bahamas. They were all bearish narratives, and now the narratives are flipped bullish, and it's enabled us to hold the support zone. So I think as long as there's bullish narratives on Bitcoin, we're actually not looking too bad. Now, this is another bullish narrative here. This is the percentage of Bitcoin supply last active. We can see that the percentage of Bitcoin supply that is kind of not moving has been increasing on all fronts in terms of 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We're seeing more and more people hold, and this is another perspective to look at that same thing I stated before. In terms of Bitcoin monthly returns, obviously, generally speaking, and perhaps you don't know this, but most people would by now, generally speaking, September is the worst month that Bitcoin is meant to have, historically speaking, in terms of monthly returns. So from the start of the month to the end of the month, we're meant to be ending off more red than any other month on a averaged out basis. But realistically, right now, we haven't seen anything too bad. I mean, we're up 4% for September. So, perhaps we see a drop, which, 10 days, we could see it, and we're at resistance right now, so it's not completely off the table. But right now, that red September theory is falling apart a little bit. And even if we want to take these monthly returns theories seriously, which I don't think you should, I think you should trust charts, not random pieces of data from monthly returns, which could very well just be randomized and coincidences. If we're going to take it seriously, which again we shouldn't, then we should be actually looking and seeing, well, October, right, which is next month, is generally the most bullish month for Bitcoin historically. In fact, we've only ever seen 2 red Octobers, right, and one of them is 12%. But if we're looking at the green Octobers, 60%, 33%, 14%, 47%, 10%, 27%, 39%. The green Octobers are more green than the red Septembers. The red Septembers average out for like a minus 5% return. The green Octobers average out for like a positive 20% return. So if you take monthly returns seriously, you should actually be leaning bullish on Bitcoin right now, because October is going to be looking excellent from that perspective. So to summarize what I've said in this video, because I'm not going to drag it out for no reason. To summarize what I said in this video, Bitcoin is seeing kind of its last real proper chance here at breaking upwards, and it's very, very close to succeeding in doing so. All we need to do is to get above 28k on the weekly chart. We're facing very strong resistance now. I think that longing now would be a stupid idea. I want to clarify that. I don't think you should be longing right here at strong resistance. You should be waiting for the resistance to break before longing. And I think that, perhaps we see a short-term pullback, but I still think we'll still have a chance to attack upwards again. It's only really looking bad if we start dropping below things like 25.7. If we start dropping into this green box here, we start breaking the low we made here on this daily candle. That's when we start to look rough again, and that's when Bitcoin starts to look shaky again. But as of right now, I think Bitcoin is in a relatively confident position. It just hasn't confirmed anything yet. So guys, hopefully we can hold on to this green box. Hopefully we can break out above 28k this week. We'll have to wait and see. But there's lots to look forward to. It certainly is nail-biting price action. So without further ado, I'm going to end the video there. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Check out the Crypto Academy. Become a Trader 10-unit course. This will teach you everything you need to know about trading from basically a TA perspective, from a fundamental perspective as well, including market psychology lessons, including lessons on risk management, lessons on how to find trades, fundamental concepts of cryptocurrency, and then going into all the TA stuff as well. So go to the website, read up everything about it, and you can ultimately throw us an email at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you with all the payment information and all the information necessary for you to make a decision on the course free of charge. So go ahead and get an informed opinion and then make your decision. Guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you tomorrow in a new video.